I am Arul. I am working with Dr. Jason Dyke at the University of Alberta. We are researching on the biggest problem in Canada, obesity. 60% of Canadians are obese, and they likely or have diabetes. In fact, to give a personal touch, my dad is a pre-diabetic. So what we want to do is we want to develop better therapies to treat either obesity or coupled with diabetes. Our research focuses on an important hormone called adiponectin. Adiponectin is secreted from fat cells, and it helps our body to process fat and sugar in a better manner. However, in obese or diabetic patients, what happens is the levels of the adiponectins are very drastically reduced, and this reduction would also contribute to the further development of diabetes and complications. So our research is to boost the waste in adiponectin in our body, and whether this boosting would help to have a better therapeutic opportunities. So what we do is we feed animals with a high fat, high sugar diet, which is similar to having a cheeseburger and a pop drink. In fact, we all know that this kind of diet would lead to a development of obesity and diabetes in animals, and needless to say in the human being also, right? Because we always go to Pizza Huts or everywhere to get this stuff and get obese. And it is striking population because 60% of Canadians are obese and 1 in 20 are diabetic. That is, at least one person in our home may be obese or diabetic. So, once we feed these animals with a high fat, high sugar diet, then we inject them with an adiponectin plasmid DNA. This is a special plasmid DNA because this plasmid DNA would get into our cells and integrate and start secreting the adiponectin artificially. So we inject this plasmid DNA into the muscle of the animal, leg muscle, and we deliver a mild electric shock. This electric shock facilitates the entry of this plasmid DNA into the cell and ask our muscle cells to synthesize the adiponectin. Otherwise, if you remember, this adiponectin is secreted only from the fat cells. So we are artificially asking our muscle cells, please secrete adiponectin to counteract this obesity or diabetes. So what our data suggests that is once we inject this adiponectin in our muscle cells and they electroporate or they give electric shock, mild electric shock, and these levels are increased, and these animals tend to gain body weight lesser than their controls. That is amazing because once we reduce their body weight, then everything is working out, right? So the body weight is reduced, the total fat mass is reduced, and also these animals have a better processing of their glucose. That is, when we did the glucose tolerance test in them, they have a lesser glucose than their control parts. Then what we did was we also took or collect these tissues from these animals, for example liver, and we subject them to the biochemical analysis, which indicated these animals have a better insulin sensitivity. So injecting adiponectin or artificially increasing the levels of adiponectin in an animal which is obese lead to a reduction in the body weight and improve its insulin sensitivity and ultimately diabetes. This is fascinating because the value of this research or the clinical relevance of the research is amazing, which can directly translate into a clinic, because the plasmid DNA which we used or the technology we used, the electroporation or electric shock, has already been tested in clinical trials and found to be safe and efficacious. So what we did is we didn't do anything novel or great or earth-breaking. What we did was just putting the connects. Like we did this adiponectin, we put them into the correct plasmid and give electric shock, and the levels are increased, which led to the reduction in the obesity. To tell you frankly, there is no therapies available either based on adiponectin or, for the matter of fact, there is no ideal therapy for obesity. If you could translate this into clinic, this is going to be one of the first and foremost therapy for diabetes and obesity, and I believe this day is not going to be far distant, and we are going to treat the thousands of Canadians with this new technology using adiponectin in the near future. Thank you very much.